Hello everybody and welcome to round 3 of the 2022 GP4 Formula E Offline Championship. We are here at the fictional Dodge Island Street Circuit in Miami, Florida, USA for the Miami ePrix. I am JW97. I'll be joined soon later on by Robert Ionescu. At the moment he's not here. He'll be joining just before the race. He's currently doing other commitments. So Yuri will be here just in case he needs to add any input at the moment.
Hello.
Yep, so anyway, we are getting set for the qualifying session, which you can see on the screen. No rain expected for qualifying, so let's get this show on the road. Last time out, of course, at the Mexico City ePrix, so you need to rewind 2 weeks ago to that race. It saw Jaswant Kumar take his first ever GP4 OC victory, which in turn, after a very strong opening race of the season as well, which saw him finish second, he now takes the lead in the Drivers' Championship, and he's looking to see if he can build on what has so far been a very strong start to the season for the Indian driver. But can we have a third different winner this season, or will either one of Ross Denholm or even Jaswant Kumar get their second victory of the season? It will be very interesting to see how this one is going to pan out. So we're waiting in the garages, of course. A note as well, this is a very, very long track indeed. So this is probably, obviously, the longest track that we have on the calendar. Roughly about a 2-minute summit lap. So it's quite a long lap. So the amount of qualifying laps that we'll get from these drivers are usually going to be quite short because, of course, we only have about 13 cars going out at the time to avoid that little pit lane glitch. So just be aware of that. So not many laps on this one. So really got to make it count in this either 1 or 2 flying laps here at Miami. Maybe 3 at a push if you're lucky. But anyway, first car on the track will be Bartosz Bracki in the Venturi car. And Bracki, it's safe to say, very good start to the season for him at time in Formula E, and definitely doing a good job with that Venturi team. Scored points, of course, in the opening race at Sao Paulo, and looking pretty strong in that car. I would say that he's so far having a better start to the season than his teammate Ko Chung Cheong at the moment. If I just quickly have a look at the Drivers' Championship on my spreadsheet once I get it up. But continuing to ride on board with Bartosz Bracki as he prepares to go for around this long lap before he starts his first flying lap of qualifying. And a few other cars, as you can see on the right-hand side on the minimap, are also making their way out onto the racetrack as well. Just looking around. In fact, Coach Chung Cheong has also had a very good start to the season, but I would say in terms of pace-wise at the moment, I think Bracki has shown a little bit more than Cheong. But Cheong having a very good race at Mexico at the moment, and looking to see if he can try and match Bracki throughout the season, of course. But so far, a pretty good start for the Venturi team, it's fair to say, as Bracki makes his way through the double right-hander, as he will now be coming up towards the right-hander. Well, we have seen some incidents happen in the past with certain AI, and whether we'll see that this season or not, we'll have to wait and see. But it is quite common for driver errors to potentially happen into this corner, really, where people sometimes like to slam into the wall if they carry a little bit too much speed. So quite a common trait around here at the Dodge Island Street Circuit. But anyway, Bracki just making his way out of what is kind of a bus-stop chicane when you look at it on the mini-map on the right-hand side. But at the same time, it doesn't really carry the same characteristics as what a bus-stop chicane might. So anyway, now coming up to the famous hangar, really, of this shipping yard, which is where this track is. Going underneath this bit of the track. And then he'll soon be coming up towards the final few turns through the 5th to last corner. And then the final 4 corners, which are both chicanes, by the way. The last chicane being slower than this one, it's fair to say. In fact, this right-hander he's coming up to, I believe, is flat out. It is. And then this one is quite an interesting chicane. The AI tend to take it from the inside and then quickly hop over the curves. And in fact, I would say that's actually quicker than the previous chicane. I clearly got those two mixed up. But Bracki starting his lap, of course, given how long the track is, he's not expected to have any traffic, so a clean lap is expected for the Polish driver unless he makes a mistake at all on that lap. Through into the first corner, using a lot of curb on the inside, and then into the first chicane on the track. A very quick chicane, it's fair to say. I think they could take it flat out through into there, and they could basically just straight line it, depending on how they take the angle of the corner, really. As Bracki now then making his way through the right and left-hander, soon approaching the end of the first sector very, very soon. Let's see what the benchmarker time is going to be for the Polish driver. 29.277. Now, I know for the fact that the third sector is actually quite long, so that's obviously something to bear in mind there, as he makes his way through this long sweeping right-hander, and now down the back straight he will go now then, which has got a few little curves on it. A few little corners, but they're all flat out really, so technically really the profile of this part of the track is just basically one massive back straight really, as you go flat out through the most part of it, and then coming up towards the end of Sector 2, which is a 55.166, and now we head our way into this very, very long Sector 3 now, then this very long final sector, as Bracky looks like he's getting a little bit out of shape through into that part. Looks like a little bit of understeer, maybe a little bit of a lock up there, so Bracky slapped clearly down the toilet with that one, and maybe room for improvement if he's going to get out and do a second flying lap. But anyway, Bracky now then hanging towards the right and left complex now then. Of course, we have seen collisions here in the past. Whether we'll see that again this season, it remains to be seen, as Bracky now through the left-hander he goes, and now making his way towards the next chicane on the track. A few chicanes on this track, it's fair to say. Through the left, and then through into the right-hander goes Bracky now, then heading down to this little medium straight where we have seen a lot of overtaking going down into this right-hander when they approach the shed section, as I'm going to refer to it as. Underneath a few cranes on this shipping yard now then, and now in towards the right-hander now, then flicking it in and then going underneath this little hangar and then into the final few turns on the racetrack. As mentioned, it is a very, very long lap around here at the Dodge Island Street Circuit, and so expect lap times to be in the 2-minute zones really, maybe just above the 2-minute 10s, it's fair to say. So anyway, Bracky now then through into the final few turns on the racetrack he goes, and now into the final two corners he will go. Through the left and then into the right, and then what is the benchmarker time going to be then? Barges Bracky across the line, he will go, and it's a 2 minute 17.768. Now one common trait with this track of course is that because of how long the track is, we do often see gaps being quite big around this track, but Cass Morgan goes quickest, only briefly though, because Adventure goes 1.8 seconds quicker to the top. Coach Chun Cheong goes into second, 1.4 seconds off of Daniel Adventure. Here comes Bella Neuville in the Neo now then, and she will go into fourth position, 1.8 seconds off of Adventure, and only just off of Cass Morgan there. Marvo Koenig had a very good last few corners there, but he goes into third, 1.4 seconds off. Here is Robert Ionescu now then. It's fair to say that Audi have not had the start to the season that they were expecting. Still, yet to get a victory on the board are the defending team's champions. Ionescu across the line, only good enough as it goes into second, but still 1.3 seconds of Adventure. P5 for Cesar Cohen Jr. there. Owen Carpenter now then just coming out of the final chicane, and the Irishman comes across the line now then and goes into ninth position. Dominic Ticelli across the line, we will go, goes into second place, 1.2 seconds off of Adventure. Rafael Demal goes into second, he's had a very good last set. Stepnika now goes to the top by 7/10 of a second, he breaks into the 2 minute 14s as a result, 2 minute 14.715. Jacob Tobler goes into fifth, and they are these runs done with at the moment, with the rookie Jacob Stepnika currently at the top of the timing sheets ahead of Daniel Adventure. But yeah, I don't know if you could give a little bit of input at the moment, you, because well, I've mentioned Audi have not had the start that they were expecting at the moment.
Yeah, it's just been a bit of, the drivers have been a bit off pace with the Audi, not as comfortable as they were last season, and I do expect that they will get it together at some point this season.
Yep, indeed, and whether it'll be here or whether at another race, we'll have to wait and see. As Bracky now then makes his way towards the right-hander, he will go, and as he'll be heading back into the pits, and they will wait for the second runs to happen. He's nearly close to the pits right now. In fact, it's actually just after this chicane that we're coming up to. So after this left-right chicane, Bracky, instead of taking that chicane, he'll just go straight on into the pits. He'll peel to the right, which he will do now. So Bracky now into the pits, and it's just basically a straight line into the pit lane essentially really, and so we now wait for the next set of cars to come out onto the racetrack, as Bracky now then pulls into his garage, and a bit of a narrow pit lane, it's fair to say, so you can understand why we only have 13 cars going out at a time, as Bracky now then will pull into his garage, as the Mahindra just waits for him to be pulled off there, as his teammate Coach Chun Cheong has also come into the pits as well. All 13 will make their way in pit lane, and then we'll wait and see who is going to go out next. So far in the standings there, Stepnika at the top, Adventure in second, Dumal in third, with Ticelli in fourth, Tobler in fifth, with Ionescu in sixth, Coach Chun Cheong is in seventh, with Koenig in eighth, then it is Cohen Jr. in ninth, Morgan in 10th, Neuville 11th, Bracky in 12th, and Carpenter currently in 13th position. As expected, because of how lengthy the track is, the gaps do tend to be quite big for these cars really, given the length of this track, so don't expect it to be So don't think that there's anything wrong with people's cars. It's just the length of the track. Basically, I think I've said this before in previous streams. The longer the track, the bigger the gaps usually are. And given that this is a 2-minute 14 lap, as Stepnica has proved so far, you can expect the gaps to be pretty big here indeed. As Tobler just waiting for the Virgin Racing car there of Rafael Demel to get wheeled back into the garage. Still haven't sorted out the names and the numbers of certain drivers, which are the wrong way around. I still haven't had a chance to do that, which I apologise for. I might actually do that after the session because of course we haven't got Formula 2 this week for anybody wondering. So we've got a bit of time really to sort things out. Formula 2 is not on.
I don't really have the time.
Well, not you in particular. I'm talking about myself really. So I'm talking about myself, not you there. But anyway, as back to the action, as Kochi Cheong now then in the Andretti is coming out onto the racetrack. And despite the fact that they're a Group 2 car, Andretti have still done a particularly good job, it's fair to say.
Yeah, they've looked currently the best out of the Group 2 teams. They are getting surprisingly close with the Group 1 cars, but of course I don't expect them to challenge all season, but they are showing some flashes of good driving.
Yep, and that's not to say that a Group 2 car can't win a race, of course. Remember last season with Dominic Ticelli at the Portimao ePrix when he won in a Group 2 Nissan, which of course I think in a way elevated Nissan to being a Group 1 team for 2022. So it is possible for a Group 2 car to do well. They just need a little bit of luck and maybe even just having a track that suits them really. So anyway, as Kochi Cheong is out on track, they've also got, I think that was an Audi that was right behind, if I'm not mistaken. I know, in fact, yes it is, it's Brandon Jackson, because Ionescu is still in the garage. Bella Neuville is out on track, the only one at the moment of the drivers who have already done a lap to go out on track at the moment, and I would expect she will be joined by a few more as well, including the 9 drivers who are still yet to set a time. As Kochi Cheong now then, just going around the right left chicane, as Stepnica, the current pole sitter, has gone back out onto the track to see if he can stretch that advantage a little bit more at the top of the timing sheets. As Cheong now then comes around the left and right-hander now, then he'll go. Cesar Cohen Jr. has also come out onto the racetrack as well, and there's still one more car in the pit lane, judging from what I can see on the mini-map. So I think, are they moving from what I can see there? Probably, there they are moving. I just saw a little bit of movement there, just had to look a little bit closer there on the screen. So yeah, that was that, as now Kochi Cheong now then just making his way into the left-hander now, then he goes, as he'll be preparing to start his next lap. So now heading into the final few corners we'll go on the racetrack, as now Kochi Cheong flat out through the right-hander, as now the Malaysian makes his way into the final chicane through the left and right, and he will start his first flying lap of qualifying now then, around about now. You can just about see the faint line from that angle, and it's obviously a little bit of an annoying angle, especially at the start of races, because that's the angle you're stuck at when the driver's about to start a race. But all that aside, Kochi Cheong makes his way out of the first corner, and then through into this very, very quick chicane he goes for the right, left and right-hander, using a lot of curve as possible through into that part of the track, and now heading in towards turns 5 and 6. A very quick section of corners for the right, and then through into the left-hander, and let's see what the sector 1 time is going to look like compared to Stepnica. He's 3 tenths down in that first sector, so Stepnica looking like he had a very strong first sector, it's fair to say, as now he will soon be coming up towards this right-hander, which will soon take him onto the back straight now, then he will go. Now, down the back straight, making their way through into left and right-hander now, then we go. As let's see what the Malaysian driver is able to do in the middle sector, and he's 5 tenths off in that middle sector. Now he'll be preparing himself for this very, very long final sector on the racetrack. He will now approach the double right-hander now. Then there has been a few overtakes at this part of the track as well, depending on how much momentum we get through that back straight. Out of the turn now, then at the second part of that double right-hander, as now he will make his way towards the chicane now. Then the right-left complex he will soon approach. So through the right, and then into the left-hander now, then he will go, flicks it in through the turn now then, as they will now make their way into the next section of corners now, then we go through the left, and into the right-hander now, then we'll go the Malaysian driver. And now heading down this mini back straight, which will then take him on towards the shed section of the track. as we have just under 16 and 3/4 minutes to go in this session, I should say. As now Kochi now then flicking it in through the right-hander and now heading his way towards the next left-hander on the racetrack. So he flicks it in. And now let's see what he can do then in these final few turns on the racetrack and where he can place his Andretti through the left and then into the right-hander. He will go, flicks it in for that right, and now into the final chicane will go the Malaysian driver through the left and then through into the right. And now Kochi Cheong now then is going to cross the line. Where is he going to place himself? And he's going to go into 4th position. 1.8 seconds off. Jackson goes into 7th, so just slots in front of teammate Ian Eskew there. Huang Min Nguyen now then in the Group 3 Porsche, just making his way through the left-hander he goes, as he will now make his way towards the final few turns on the racetrack, as he will flick it in through the left and then into the right-hander now then. He will go as he goes through that right and now into the final chicane. He will go through the left, now through the right, and let's see what Huang Min Nguyen can do then on this lap. Across the line, he will go, and he goes into 16th position. 4.4 seconds off. That's a pretty big gap, despite the length of the track.
I think there's been a mistake in his lap. I don't think you will be 4.5 seconds off on pace, even in this long track.
Yeah, potentially indeed. Neuville went 4th, Denholm went 5th, Razin went 6th. What's Nguyen Min Kwan going to do? He's going to go into 7th place, so far it's just been 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th at the moment for these positions. Leighton Avion on his first lap, let's see what he can do, and let's see if the gap is anywhere similar, which it isn't. He goes 12th, so that kind of confirms that the Nguyen's lap was a mistake. Sana Choi now then in the Envision Virgin Racing car, she slots into 9th position. Jacob Stepnika, the current pole sitter, he's not up on his personal best, and he's not going to improve as a result. 2 seconds off the pace there as a result. Here's the championship leader, Jaswant Kumar. Across the line he goes, only good enough for 8th place at this stage, not even close to his teammate Stepnika. Cesar Cohen Jr. clearly making a mistake on his lap and doesn't improve as a result. He stays in 18th position. Daniel Adventure also not up on his current best, currently in 2nd place and currently on the front row with Jacob Stepnika at the moment, as now the German driver, formerly Polish of course, makes his way into the final few turns. Through the left-hander he goes, and then into the final 3 turns he will go. At the moment he's not up on his personal best, but can he perhaps gain anything in this final chicane? Where we have seen, as I was just saying that, as he's just made a lock-up there. You can usually gain time at that last chicane from what I've seen in previous seasons, and Adventure did not do that on that occasion. And they are these runs done with, but so far it is still Jacob Stepnika at the top of the timing sheet at the moment in the Jaguar. So none of the drivers who were yet to set a lap previously have done a lap. But yeah, it seems that I think everybody will get a bare minimum of 2 flying laps in this session, given that we've still got just over 13 minutes to go in this session. So that's pretty much that, as we now wait for the next runs to happen on this occasion, as Kochi Cheong will get wheeled back into the garage. And now gets reversed back into the garage as we now wait for the next runs to happen. Demel is obviously in the pits. I do expect perhaps most of the drivers who didn't go out on this occasion to go out on track as well and do a second flying lap. I think Demel was one of them, in fact, who decided to stay in the pits on that occasion. Another driver who's also in a Group 2 car, Rafael Demel. I mean, Virgin were kind of doing this last season as well, where they were trying to mix it up with the big boys for podium spots. So, not
GP4 in the Neo, by the way.
Yeah, indeed. In the Group 3 Neo, Neuville in 4th position. Obviously doing a very, very good job. And obviously Neuville trying to revitalise her career after what was a disastrous 2021 season in DTM. After coming off the back of an impressive BTCC campaign in 2020. So Neuville really trying to revitalise her career in this. Despite the fact she's in a Group 3 car. And so far dragging a lot of performance in that car, it's fair to say. Just looking at where her teammate is, Jacob Tobler. Currently in 12th place, so he's doing a decent job, but compared to Neuville at the moment, I think that kind of overshadows Tobler's performances at this stage, as Cass Morgan
could indicate that the Neo has nailed the car setup for this qualifying session.
Indeed, but whether they can nail it for the race, if they can stay in these positions, of course, that is obviously going to be another question, and it will not surprise me with their pace that they start dropping back during the race, but I could be wrong. Anyway, Koch Chung Cheong is going out on track, so just like his brother previously, who decided to go out first on the previous runs, he also decides he's going to go out first this time by, as we've just under 12 minutes to go. So far, he's down in 16th place. Teammate Bracky is currently in 20th. So far, in fact, Coach Chun Cheong currently outpacing Bracky at the moment. But again, still plenty of time for that to sort out. In fact, Venturi not racing any time whatsoever, and both cars going out first and second on the road. Koenig has also gone out on track, and he's down in 17th at the moment. His teammate Kochi Cheong up in 9th at the moment. So Koenig, who's had it's fair to say, a bit of a rough time, it's fair to say, in Formula E, is clearly still suffering at this stage, as Cheong now then will prepare to start his next lap soon once he goes around this long track. And so anyway, for anybody who is wondering why on earth this is not the Miami street track that's currently in Formula One in real life, is because this track was around. This track Formula E this series has been using even before Formula One went to Miami in the first place. So yeah, it kind of made sense to continue on this version. Really, I do believe there is a Miami track now available on Grand Prix 4 from Formula One, but so far in the OC fraternity, it's never been used. So maybe in the future it could get used, but we'll have to wait and see. Of course, still a long time in the future for that to happen. But anyway, Cheong now then, Coach Chung Cheong that is, just coming around out of this mini bus stop chicane, which is not really a bus stop chicane, but when you look at it on the mini map, it pretty much is. So anyway, as he now makes his way towards the shed section of the track, still one car currently in the garage at the moment, but I think that driver should be able to get out before Coach On Cheong makes his way back around the racetrack. Now, coming around that left-hander now, then he will go. And and it was actually Sana Chue that was the one that was coming out of the pits on that occasion. So she's also come out to see if she can improve on her 10th position at this stage. Her teammate Demao currently in the top 3 at the moment. Here comes Coach On Cheong now then, just coming out of the chicane now, then he will go as he now makes his way down the pit straight to start his next flying lap now, then heading down towards the first corner now, then he will go as now into the first turn we go, through turn 1 and then into turns 2, 3 and 4 we will go now then, so flicking it in through the right, left and right. Oddly enough, they don't take the curve on the inside through turn 4 there, but they do for turns 2 and 3. And now let's see what Coach On Cheong could do in the first sector now, then compared to his personal best. Not the best of exits through into there, that might actually cost him some time, and it is, but not by much, only 39 thousandths down on his personal best on that occasion, so it's still pretty much possible for him to claw that time back up in the final 2 sectors. The Malaysian driver through that right-hander now then, and now heading down the back straight he will go, as he will now come towards the left, right, flat out sequences before having to brake a little bit for the double right-hander. In fact, approaching the end of sector 2 now then, let's see what happens.
It seems like Joe has gone somewhere, so I will continue for the moment, as I need to take the chat out. So anyway, Kok Chan Cheong in the final long sector going, he's not improving on his lap, so yep. Goes through the nice, lovely containers. They're definitely one of the best places to have a race, in the middle of the containers. As Kok Chan Cheong comes into the final chicane and doesn't look like an improvement. Oh, he did improve, what the hell?
Massive improvement in that last sector. Coach On Cheong now goes into 7th place as his teammate also does the same. So 7th and 8th now for the 2 Venturi drivers. Bracky going into 7th place, as now we look at Marvo Koenig is up on his personal best. He needs to, really, because he's all the way down in 18th place at the moment. The German driver across the line, and he goes up into 9th, so gets himself into the top 10. Jackson also up on his personal best. He's all the way down in 16th. His teammate Inescu all the way down in 18th, so it wasn't the best of first flying laps for the 2 Audi drivers, so they desperately need to improve. Jackson now then into the final chicane. He goes for the left, then into the right. Can he improve and get himself anywhere near Stepnica? Across the line he will go, and he goes up to 9th, so he's only able to get up to 9th place on that occasion. Owen Carpenter, across the line he goes, and goes up to 14th place. Cass Morgan across the line goes into 16th. Dominic Ticelli is also up in his personal best, and he's currently down in 17th place at the moment, is the Italian, the man who got pole at the first race at Interlagos, as he now comes out of the final turn in the Nissan. Across the line he goes, and it looks like he's lost time somewhere, and he doesn't improve, so I wonder if a mistake has happened there for Ticelli. Demel doesn't improve. Here comes Koichi Cheong now then in at the Andretti, as he will now come across the line himself, and he doesn't improve. Robert Ionescu up on his personal best, but can he get higher than 20th place? Let's see. Through the left, then through the right, and now heading down the pit straight. Ionescu across the line, he will go now then, and he goes up into 7th place, only good enough for 7th, so 7th and 10th at the moment for the 2 Audi drivers. Razan now then into the final chicane, and the final few chicanes now then. He's not up on his personal best, but let's see if he can find any time in this last sector like we saw with Coach Chun Cheong a little bit earlier on. Now Razan across the line he will go, and he does find time and goes up into 4th position, so it seems there was a lot of time to find in that last sector. Nguyen improves, but he stays in last and still over 4 seconds off the pace, so he's clearly struggling at the moment with that car at this stage. As we now look at Sana Chue in the Envision Virgin Racing car. Across the line she will go, and goes only 13th on that occasion. Unlucky for some, as that's these runs done with, but a lot of time was found on that last sector there on that occasion, as we would expect, especially with that last chicane. But so far, still, Jacob Stepnica is still at the top of the timing screens in the Jaguar. The 2 Mercedes is 2nd and 4th at the moment in this qualifying session, but the top 3 so far, despite the improvements that we've seen in the last sector, still have not been unsettled at this stage. And I think, judging for the length of the track, we might get one more flying lap in for most of the guys in this session, but we will wait and see on that one, as we now wait and see what is going to happen. As now Coach Chun Cheong now then just heads back into the garage now then, as same with his teammate Barchis Bracky. Both of them able to find time in that last sector, and currently 8th and 9th at the moment are Bracky and Coach Chun Cheong at the moment, as there's still a few cars on track at the moment, but they'll be heading back into the pits this lap, of course. For Sana Chue, it could be her last lap of this session, judging from how long it's going to take to get back around this racetrack. She's only just arriving at the double right-hander, as Jacob Tobler is currently waiting in the pit lane to go out onto the track, as in the Neo, of course. Neuville currently up at 5th place, so Tobler really needing to find some time if he wants to get anywhere near Bella Neuville's time, with just over 4 minutes left in this session now then, as we wait now then for the next runs to happen, as we have just under 4 minutes to go in this qualifying session now then. Razan and Nguyen and Chue are the only 3 drivers out on track at the moment. They're still yet to come back into pit lane, as Tobler is getting set to go out on track, but I do wonder how many cars are going to be able to get out there before the 2:14 mark. They need to get out there before that 2:14 mark, otherwise they won't have enough time to do a final flying lap, as Tobler now then making his way out on track now then, as he will now flick through the left-hander, and now out on the track then goes Jacob Tobler in the Neo now then, as he will now make his way into the first corner. So through the right-hander he goes, as now heading towards the chicane now then he'll go, flicks it in through turns 2, 3 and 4. Aviard has also come out onto the track, as has Nguyen Min Kwan now then in the DS Cheetah. So 3 cars currently out on track to do one more flying lap. Now just under 3 minutes to go in this session. Not much movement going on in the pit lane as things stand, so still only 3 cars out on track at the moment. Tobler just coming out of the left-hander there and then into the right. Some more movement now, as we could see. Who is that joining them on the track to do a flying lap? It is Cesar Cohen Jr. that's just come out onto the track. Anybody else going to join before they get to that 2:14 mark, as Tobler just comes towards the end of the second sector? It looks like there is a few more, as who's that just come out onto the track? That is Barcisz Bracchi, who's just made his way out on track now. Then 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. I think that's going to do it. So these are the only guys that are going to be able to do one more flying lap in this qualifying session. Tobler through the right and then into the left-hander now. Then he will go. Flicks it in through that left-hander now then. And now heading towards the left-right chicane. He will now approach now then. So flicking it in through the left and then into right-hander he will now go. So now he'll be preparing to start his final flying lap of this qualifying session, as Tobler now then making his way towards the shipping, well, the barn, as I keep referring to it as, that barn section of the track, through the right-hander. Underneath this hangar now then we go. As now heading into the left-hander goes Tobler, flicking it in through that left-hander, and now heading in towards the final few chicanes on the racetrack, so through the left and then into the right-hander now then he will go, as he will now prepare to start his final flying lap of qualifying. Through the left and right he goes, looking to see if he can get anywhere near Bellanueville's lap time now then. A few guys are just out there now to just get mileage runs, not able to do enough to do a final flying lap. Tobler starts lap as the Leighton Aviard just behind him. He's currently down in 20th position. So Nguyen, it's going to be a qualifying session to forget for him, given that he's the only one over 4 seconds off the pace, not even 3 seconds off. So clearly he was struggling on both laps on that occasion. Tobler now then just making his way in towards turns number 5 and 6 now then, as he'll soon be approaching the end of the first sector very, very soon. And let's see what the first sector is going to look like compared to his personal best. And he's 2 tenths down on that personal best as a result, as he flicks it in through that left-hander and now in towards the right-hander he will now go, as Tobler now then will make his way down at the back straight, as he will soon be approaching the end of sector 2 very, very soon, flicking it in through the flat-out left-right sequence of corners now then, through the right, then through into the left, and then right-hander he will go, and yep, still down on his personal best, this time by 4 tenths of a second. 10, 9, 8, 7, and then we have 6, 5, 4, then 3, 2, and then 1 and 0, and the checkered flag is out, and that signifies the end of the session, as Tobler and Aviard are currently at the very, very long final sector of the racetrack. Now into the chicane, the bus-stop chicane we go, through the right and then into the left-hander will go Tobler in the Neo. Through the left-hander he goes, and now making his way towards the exit of this mini bus stop chicane, as it were. So through the this sort of bus stop chicane. I shouldn't really keep on calling it a mini bus stop chicane, because it's not really mini at all, is it? Now coming down the back straight now then, as Tobler will now come towards the barn section of the racetrack, as the Czech driver now then heading towards the little hangar underneath which they will be driving underneath, of course, as you can see, with Pirelli advertising on either side of the track there. But Tobler now then through the left-hander he goes, as now he will approach the final chicane on the racetrack. And now flicking it in through the final 4 corners, through the 4th to last corner, 3rd to last corner, which is flat, and then into the last 2 corners where you can gain or lose a lot of time on the lap. Through the final chicane goes Tobler. Can he find any time in that last sector to go up on his personal best? Tobler across the line, and no, he can't. He stays in 19th, way off of Neuville in the end. Aviard doesn't improve. He stays in 20th. Kwan is not up on his personal best either. He now crosses the line, and he doesn't improve. He stays in 12th position. We look at Cesar Cohen Jr., also not up on his personal best, currently on the back row of the grid at the moment with Hoang Minh Nguyen at this stage, as Cesar Cohen Jr. making his way through the left-hander now, then he goes, and now heading in towards the final 4 corners. We will go now then, as he flicks it in through the left-hander, and then into the final few turns he will go, and now heading towards the final chicane goes Cesar Cohen Jr. in the Mahindra, through the left, through the right, and the Dominican Republic driver is now going to cross the line, and no improvement, way off the pace in fact, and he does not improve, stays in 21st. Bracchi is also not up on his personal best, the Polish driver out of the final turn, unless he can find anything in this final game, which he might, you know. He looks like he's going to find some time, and he does. He goes up to 4th, a big improvement there in the last sector, but that is the final flying lap, and it is Jacob Stepnica in only his 3rd race in the OC who's going to take pole position here at Miami, the only driver to get into the 2-minute 14s as a result. So here is the results then. Jacob Stepnica taking his first ever pole position with Daniel Adventure Fletcher in second. Rafael Demel is in third, with Barches Bracchi an impressive fourth in the Venturi, with Mohamed Razan in fifth, Bella Neuville impressive sixth in the Neo, with Ross Denholm in seventh, Robert Ionescu eighth, Coach Chon Cheong in ninth. Then it is Brandon Jackson in 10th, only 8th and 10th for the two Audis. Marvo Koenig is in 11th, with Nguyen Minh Quan in 12th, Sana Choi in 13th, with the championship leader Jaswant Kumar all the way down in 14th. A lot of work to do for him, with Kochi Cheong in 15th, Owen Carpenter 16th, Cass Morgan in 17th, with Dominic DiCelli 18th, Jacob Tobler 19th, Leighton Aviard in 20th, Sata Cohen Jr. in 21st, and Hoang Min Nguyen in 22nd and last. The only driver 4 seconds off the pace, really struggling on those two laps, and I do wonder if he made a mistake on both of those laps. So we're just going to take a brief pause for the moment whilst Yui sorts out the grid for the Miami ePrix race, but stick around because the race will be on this stream, so don't go anywhere. But for the meantime, I'm going to mute myself so I can sort out the tweet for Twitter, so do bear with, guys. The race is coming up very shortly. Okay, I am back, and it looks like Rob will be joining us very soon once his Discord on his PC finally loads. Apparently, it's taken a bit of a while for him to load up, but hopefully we should be in for a good race. And apparently, I've just seen on Twitter, in fact, in real life F1, Lance Stroll is going to be missing pre-season testing in Bahrain, which is a bit interesting. He's had a bit of a training accident. Hopefully he's not a minor training accident. Well, thankfully it's just minor, and hopefully it's nothing serious. Hopefully he should be back in the car for the first race. Yeah, that's pretty much that. As seems that Rob's still having issues trying to join us on Discord because apparently his PC's taking a little bit too long to load up. Hopefully he should be here very soon, and obviously we're just just waiting, of course, for Yuri to sort out the grid. Of course, it's Jacob Stepnika's first ever pole position in the GP4 OC and only his third race, and he'll be looking to see if he can make it not only just 2 wins in a row for Jaguar, but also to try and take his first ever victory in the GP4 OC fraternity, and looking to see if he can do a good job. So far, Jaguar have had a very, very strong start to the season in Formula E, and looking to see if they can continue that. Of course, the championship leader, Jaswant Kumar, is starting all the way down in 14th position, so he's got a lot of work to do, really, from that position. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see if he can do the job from 14th on the grid. Of course, it has got a little bit of a... We do know that there is one corner on this track which can cause a little bit of chaos in the pass. It's specifically the corner after the double right-hander. So that's obviously one corner to really keep an eye on throughout the entirety of the race. So that's pretty much that. As we wait now then for the start of the race. Of course, it's going to be 21 laps, of course. It is obviously the shortest lap distance we have on the calendar because of the fact of how long the track is. Of course, 1 mandatory pit stop for anybody who is not familiar. This is the first time they've watched Formula E, of course. For anybody who's watching this for the first time, 1 mandatory pit stop, 21 laps around here at Miami. Be interested to see if the weather is going to be the same as what it was in qualifying, which was bright and sunny and no rain. So obviously one bit to really keep an eye on. But yeah, it should be very, very interesting indeed. And apparently Rob is nearly done. His thing is nearly done loading, which is good to hear. So that's that. As obviously, for anybody who needs a reminder, of course, there is no Formula 2 this week. Formula 2 is having a week off. It will be back, though, next week at Hockenheim, so that's why there won't be another stream after this, of course. This is the only stream that's going to be on Monday, of course, and then, of course, we'll only have the top class as well on the Tuesday and Wednesday, and then, of course, DTM later on in the week as well over at Mugello, which will be obviously a very interesting race indeed. I think Flores said that he may upload a short video, a shorts onto the channel, which I don't think we've ever had. I think we've never had a shorts on this on the channel showing the final few laps of Mugello. As Rob has finally joined us, how are you doing?
Okay, finally, I'm doing fine. Thank you very much. Discord was taking a long time to load for me, but now it's all sorted.
Good. Obviously, I noticed that you did actually catch the end of qualifying, judging from the stream chat. But
I watched the entire thing. I just wasn't home.
Okay, fair enough. But anyway, just in the nick of time as well, Rob. You did that with perfect timing, as the stream is now back up for us, and we are about to get underway. So we'll do it 4x4 as per usual. So for anybody who didn't see qualifying, on pole position for the first ever time in his career, it is Jacob Stepnika in the Jaguar, with Daniel Adventure in second. Rafael Demel starts in third, with Bartosz Bracki a very impressive fourth.
Mohamed Razin is in 5th place, followed by Bella Newerfield, and it is Ross Denholm in 7th and Robert Ionescu in 8th.
E9 goes to Kochi Cheong, followed by Brandon Jackson in 10th position. A bit of work to do for the Audis. Marvo Koenig in 11th, with Nguyen Minh Quan in 12th position.
Sana Choi is in 13th, followed by Jaswant Kumar, the championship leader, all the way down in 14th. Kokjit Chung is in 15th, followed by Owen Carpenter in 16th.
Cass Morgan starts in 17th with Dominic Ticelli in 18th. Then it is Jacob Tobler in 19th, followed by Leighton Aviard in 20th. And on the back row of the grid, Rob?
It's Cesar Cohen Jr. in 21st, the Dominican driver, and the Vietnamese driver Hoa Minh Nguyen in 22nd and last.
Yep, and no rain expected for the race, so same conditions as what it was in qualifying, as it's time to get this show on the road for 21 laps of action here at the Dodge Island Street Circuit in Miami, Florida, USA. And hopefully...
If past races are anything to go by, I expect plenty of chaos today.
We shall wait and see, of course. But here we are then on the grid. Of course, with the camera angle, we will have Stepnika on the right-hand side. We will, of course, have Adventure on the left-hand side. But eventually, when they get a little bit further down the track, we should be able to see them coming towards the corner. But anyway, 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5 lights are on here at the Dodge Island Street Circuit. And it is lights out. And away we go here for the Miami ePrix. Who is going to get the lead into the first corner now then, as they will make their way down this long little run to the first corner. It looks like a very good start from Adventure, who's got the jump on Stepnika, as Dumel is also trying to look onto the outside, but Adventure grabs the lead into the first corner. He got a very good launch off the line, and he gets the lead from Stepnika as a result. Bracki holds onto full pace. We've got the flag into the first corner. There's already been an accident at the first corner. Who on earth is that? There's 2 cars off, and it's Kumar, the championship leader. He's out of the race. Kumar and Choi are out of the race, and the championship leader is already out of the first corner.
This is a big twist. I expected chaos, but not from this early on.
Indeed so, but they're both out of the race, and let's see
How
how
did this
this
happen?
happens. Oh, it was in fact because Tway ran into the back of one of the DS Cheetah cars. That must have been Nagu and Minkwani ran into the back of, and as a result, Kumar was just a passenger, and they just took each other out as a result. I do believe as a result, Kwan has got some damage, because I did see some debris flying out of the exit turn. Hoang Min Nguyen has also got damage as well, so it looks like both the Vietnamese drivers, yes they have, both Vietnamese drivers on the grid have got damage at the first corner from that.
Yep, that's right. Meanwhile, Adventure, good start from him. He's leading. Let's see if he can pull away from Stepnichka. Meanwhile, Newerville is down into 7th.
Yep, so she's not had the best of starts. She's down a place from her original grid spot, despite a very good qualifying. But as they make their way down the straight, it looks like Dumel might actually get a run on Stepnika into the corner. Confirmation that both Chwei and Kumar are out of the races. Meanwhile, Denholm is trying to attack Bracky for 4th position. The Group 2 Venturi doing its best to hold off from the Group 1 Nissan as they make their way down the straight. Of course, Denholm drove for Venturi last season. Meanwhile, Dumel on the inside of Stepnika. This is going to be P2 for the Brazilian into the double
here.
He's going to have a go, but he's got it done, I think, or has he? Because Stepnika's trying to hang it around the outside into that corner, and he holds on to second place as a result. Demel gets poor traction. Bracky trying to take full advantage if he can, and Demel trying to close the door, but it's already too late. Stepnika is already alongside, and it's already looked like he's got the overlap into the corner, and Bracky is onto the podium as a result.
And stuff.
Great stuff indeed, as looks like Denholm was trying to follow through as well, but couldn't get it done. But Bracky now up into 3rd place as a result of that little side-by-side moment that happened between Demel and Stepnika. I think there was a little bit of argy-bargy going on down into that chicane, but luckily nothing major on the first lap as they now make their way towards the shed section. Is now looks like Denholm is now trying to attack Demel for 4th position, heading down towards the shed section, trying to get a little bit later on the brakes if he can, but Demel's going to hang it around the outside and hold on to that place for the moment. But all this is doing is allowing Bracky to get away as Newerville has lost another place, this time to who was that?
Razin.
It was Razin, so Razin's just overtaken at that part of the track, and Newerville down to 8th and now under pressure from Brandon Jackson.
Yep, that's right. The Audi is clearly very desperate to push forward and gain positions. Meanwhile, Adventure leads. He's got a comfortable margin, says the early fastest lap for good measure.
2.7 seconds a gap between himself and the pole sitter Stepnika as Adventure looks to pull away in this race. Meanwhile, Denholm now once again attacking Dumel into the first corner. Can he get the move done? Down the inside, he thought about the move but can't get done. Oh no, contact been made and Dumel is out of the race. And I would not be surprised if Denholm ends up with a penalty for that. We did get a couple of penalties last season for what happened at turn 1, and I would not be surprised if Denholm ends up getting one, because I think that was a little bit clumsy on his part there.
Yeah, the move on, but he should have known to back out sooner.
Yeah, indeed. The 10-second penalty for Demel. Luckily, sorry, not for Demel, for Denholm, sorry. Luckily, that
Razin has overtaken Unesco in the meantime.
Did that before the yellows came out, so he was very, very lucky there. As in fact, as you could see, as a result, Denholm is going very slowly because, of course, he's got damage from that whole exchange, so he's going to have to make a long trip back to the pits. He's probably going to fall down to the back of the pack before they even get to the end of the lap, that's for sure. Well, he won't do because, of course, we've got a couple of the drivers with damage, of course, who are both in the pits, that being Kwan and Nguyen. That's pretty much that, but 10-second time penalty for Ross Denholm as a result of that collision with Rafael Demel as the two Audis are going into combat here.
Yeah, Jackson is going for it.
Can't get it done though as Ionescu holds on to P5 for the moment, and they can't really battle too much because they've got a chance to try and close up on, I think it's obviously it's not Denholm, of course, he's obviously going backwards with damage. I'm just trying to figure out who that is now up in 4th place.
Razin.
Razin, they're trying to chase down. Thank you very much for that. As Bracky with a very comfortable gap in 3rd place after that exchange happened down at the first corner, and he's trying to chase down Stepnika here.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit easier said than done, though, as look at this, we got a little bit of contact between the two Audis.
Early no team orders. Jackson with a bump and run there, and he goes through into 5th position there, so a little bit cheeky from Jackson there, but all fair players.
I don't think Unesco will be happy with that. It's almost cost him another place.
Yep, as it looked like Newerville for a brief moment there. Nearly we took 7th place there from Coach Chung Cheong, but in the end, Coach Chung was able to just hold on there for the time being. 2.5 seconds now, the gap between the top two.
Yep, that's right. So it's staying roughly about the same as Newerville is getting a good run on Chung here. Let's see if she can overtake him.
She's going down the inside. Can she pull the move off? No, she can't. Ko Cheong holding on to the place. They've also got Ko Cheong right behind as well. So another driver to keep an eye on there then, as they continue to scrap. So technically, Neuville in a Cheong sandwich at the moment, with Ko Cheong and Kochi in front and behind her at the moment. As Adventure sets another fastest lap of 2 minutes 16, but now it's taken away by Stepnika. So he now holds on to the 2 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race at the moment.
Of course, I think it's feel just a little bit lighter though.
Perhaps indeed, so that's obviously something to keep an eye on when we get to the mandatory pit stop stages of the race, which should come at around about the halfway point of the race, as we look back at Razin, who's currently 4th and has got a 3-second cushion to Brandon Jackson at the moment, as he's also dragging along. I think Robert Ionescu at the moment, but I think he might actually have a gap now after that little exchange they had at the little chicane they had earlier on.
Yep, indeed.
Denholm's now in the pits to repair his front wing, so his race has gone down the toilet as a result, and it looks like he could mingle with both Kwan and Nguyen in the race as a direct result to that. As Adventure continuing to lead the way at the moment, still got over 2 seconds in hand over Stepnika, still 2.5 seconds the gap at this stage. Is that going to remain the same when they come out of the exit of Sector 2? So it's grown, in fact. So Adventure responding. As now Kochi Cheong is on the inside of Bella Neuville. It looks like he's already got the overlap going through into the S's, and he has done. So up into P8 goes Kochi Cheong, as now he'll try and chase down his brother.
Yep, that's right, and it'll be an interesting battle.
Looks like though Neuville's not giving up, because she's back in the slipstream. In fact, to Kochi Cheong trying to look onto the inside. Can't get it done. Kochi just holding on to the place going into the double right-hander there. Just doing enough to defend the place at that stage of the race.
Yep, indeed.
2.6 seconds the gap, as Adventure again looking up on his personal best at the moment, judging from the death panel on the top of your screen there, as he will now come up towards the shed section of the racetrack, and still quite comfortable out in front at this stage of the race. Obviously got a very good launch at the start, and so far looks untouchable at the moment. Of course, still got a mandatory pit stop stage to go, but so far been a very good early start to the race for Adventure.
Yes, absolutely.
As Stepnika with a 3.3 second cushion now over Brachy. So whilst we thought initially that Brachy was trying to close in, looks like Stepnika is now starting to pull away. Clearly the advantage that Jaguar car has compared to the Venturi is quite noticeable, it's fair to say.
Yeah, indeed. Brachy might drop off the pace sooner or later.
Yep, as 2.1 now the gap between Stepnika and Adventure. So it seems that Stepnika's got a little bit more in hand going into that chicane there. So he started to respond a little bit to Adventure's paces. Whoa, the Cheong brother's getting way too close there, it's fair to say.
Neuville's going to get a great chance here.
Yeah, I think Neuville's going to take full advantage. Looks like she's already going to get the overlap into the first corner as a result, and break that a little bit later to reclaim P8. Down the inside she goes, and yeah, Neuville back up to 8th there. Looked like a very rude chop there from Ko Cheong there on his own brother.
No, I don't think he really cares about family. It's on the racetrack, it's all about yourself.
2 seconds now, the gap between the top 2 at the moment, so still over 2 seconds between the pair of them, so still quite a healthy gap for Adventure, but it looks like Jacob Stepnika is now starting to respond a little bit now to Adventure's pace. Just riding on board with, I think this is Cicelli we're riding on board with, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that.
Could be.
But trying to find a way through on Jacob Tobler at this stage of the race. 4.3 seconds now the gap between Stepnika and Brachy. Still 2 seconds though, so Stepnika didn't really, in fact, if anything, Adventure only pulled away a tiny bit in that sector, but not by a lot on that occasion.
I think Stepnika is fueled a little bit lighter than him though, just by 1 lap though.
So we should expect him to possibly pit a lap before
Adventure.
A lap before Adventure does. I had to find my words there a little bit. Anyway, we're running on board now. This is Owen Carpenter we're running on board with, currently on the back of Cesar Cohen Jr. and so far not really gaining as many places as he was anticipating at the start of the race, as looking back at Stepnika, who's looking very comfortable in second place, still keeping the gap honest between himself and Adventure at this stage of the race, as meanwhile just looking around the rest
Looks
of the...
like Razin is closing down on Brachy.
So we could have a fight for third place brewing soon if Razin can keep closing down on that gap very soon, as Kochi Cheong still stuck behind Neuville at the moment, so those two are still fighting for 8th position at this stage. Ticelli now all over the back of the Tobler, so I was right, this was Ticelli, but he's already wrecked his momentum going out the corner. They're probably just a little bit impatient being stuck behind Jacob Tobler at the moment.
Yeah, indeed.
down the straight as Adventure starts lap 5 at 21 in this race. 1.9, so Stepnica has gained a little bit on that sector. So Stepnica definitely closing down. It says 1.8 on that graphic, in fact. So definitely
Here goes
gaining.
Chang with a great move, a great attempted move, I should have said.
Past Neuville again on seen by the cameras, and Neuville trying to get back on the outside this time by. Looks like Kochi covering the inside this time by, but I think Neuville might just have the momentum going into the corner unless Kochi can get later on the brakes, which he can, so he holds on to 8th place for the moment. But again, looks like Kochi getting a little bit impatient, being stuck behind his own brother.
Yep, that's right. Rocky, meanwhile, he's dropping pace. Razin is just 2.1 behind and closing.
Yep, Razin continuing to gain down as the fight for third looks like it's continuing. Meanwhile, Cesar Cohen Jr. Trying to get a hold of Carpenter, who unseen by the cameras has finally got by him, so he's now got up into 11th place and only 1 place away from the points. His next target, of course, being Marvo Koenig in the Andretti, so one bit of the race to keep an eye on there then. Bracky, let's see what the gap this time by is between himself and Razin. It was 2.1 last time by. It's 2 seconds now, so Razin gaining another 10th in the second sector.
Yep, that's right. It'll be interesting to see how that gap develops, and now Neuville is getting another run onto Kokji Chung.
These two have been swapping places for quite a while now, and Neuville getting back on Kochi Cheong down the inside into the double right-hander. Can she reclaim the place of the Andretti? And no, she can't. Looks like Kochi's just going to hold on for the moment as they just come out of the double right-hander there. 1.9 seconds still between Adventure and Stepnica at the moment, so it seems that Adventure is able to keep it stable in the first 2 sectors, but when it comes to the last sector, it just seems like Stepnica's just got that little bit extra in hand.
Yep, that's right, and I think there's a 1 lap difference, so that you should keep that in mind. Stepnica needs to push right now. This will be his best chance if he wants to close him down.
Yep, indeed, as through the left-hander goes Adventure now then in the Mercedes, as pretty soon we'll see. There he is, Stepnica just coming out of the corner in the Jaguar, as they'll soon start lap 6 of the race very soon, as we're now into the final few turns on the racetrack, as now into the final couple of the corners we go through the left and right-hander now then, and let's see what the gap is like this time by. No, he won't, because we're looking now at the battle between Dicelli and Tobola. This time Dicelli's got a better run on Tobola, heading down towards the shed section of the track. Dicelli on the inside, can he get the place this time by? No, he can't. Tobola once again holds on to 15th position. 5.7 the gap between Stepnica and Bracky, as it's now down to 1
has
point.
gained another half a second.
Yep, as now the two brothers are once again fighting for 7th place, but again, Coach John doing a good job fending off his own brother into that last chicane there. But this time by Neuville has now seemed to have dropped back a bit now from Kochi Cheong.
Got a pit call meanwhile for Kokji Chung if you were looking at it.
Oh, that's an. It looks like we're going to have the pit stops on the way there. I thought for a minute there, Jelly was actually going to pull the move off there on Tobola going to the last chicane, but it does look like we may have a pit call already for mandatory pit stops. We are expecting it to be halfway or even a little bit earlier, judging from how long the track is. So it does seem like we've already got a pit call for a mandatory pit stop in this race.
Yep.
It's now looking at Bracky, who's got 1.3 second cushion now to Razan, as Razan continues to close in now on that on the gap. Let's see what it's like this time by 1.1. So yeah, this battle. Yep, so it's starting to get a little bit more intense now, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to start scrapping probably on the next lap.
Razin is pitting this lap though.
Good point, in fact, so he could try and get the jump on Bracky in the pits if he's lucky indeed. As we now look at Carpenter, who's all over the back of Marvo Koenig for the fight for the final points place. Carpenter looking to the inside. Can he pull the move off? No, he can't. Koenig holds on to P10 as a result, and his momentum already wrecked going through into the double right-hander there.
Yep, indeed. Meanwhile, Bracky is under a little bit of pressure from Razin, but he'll have to focus on his overcut because Razin is coming into the pits right now.
Yep, 1.2 seconds the gap, but of course we are expecting perhaps, obviously we know that Razin's coming into the pits at the end of this lap as he'll look to try and jump Bracky if he can in the pit stops, as the two brothers are still scrapping for 7th place. Kochi Cheong getting more impatient, and it's allowing Neuville to close back in onto that scrap. Looks like Kochi got a poor exit coming out of that right-hander, but Neuville still not close enough to attack, although she is in the switching, but Kochi already defending the inside going into the right-hander there, so he's going to hold on to 8th place as a result. 1.6 meanwhile, the gap between Adventure and Stepnica for anybody who is wondering, but we are expecting Razin now to come into the pits. There are pit mechanics, as I could see, on the right-hand side there, waiting for Razin
to come in.
Stepnica's coming in at the end of this lap, and Razin is now in, so he's looking to see if he could try and get the jump on Bracky in the pits.
Yep, indeed. Meanwhile, here we have the Chung brothers in Neuville fighting, but Kokji is coming into the pits.
Yep, thought for a minute. I thought I saw a red indicator on Koenig there, but I wasn't 100% sure. So, yep, Kochi Cheong is now into the pits for his mandatory pit stop, looking to see if he can try and get the jump on his brother if he can't pass him on the racetrack now then. And whether this will work or not, we'll wait and see. Razan's already finished his pit stop. Kochi Cheong has now finished his 6.5 seconds from the Andretti Mechanics. And once again, Dicelli just can't seem to find a way through on Tobler at the moment.
No, unluckily.
Neuville, I think, is pitting at the end of this lap, so will Dicelli as well. So Neuville's going to be pitting very, very soon than Neo, as I just saw a red indicator on Tobler's name, as Bracky's coming in at the end of this lap. So second and third are coming in at the end of this lap, as Stepnica will look to try and jump Adventure in the pits.
Yep, indeed, but it'll be a little bit difficult, because usually the overcut is supposed to be stronger at this track.
Indeed so. Tobler is still keeping Dicelli back for the time being. As mentioned, Dicelli is coming in at the end of this lap, as we saw with the red indicator on Denholm's name. Dicelli again trying to have a go through into the left-hander, but again can't get the move stick. He's just struggling to pass the Czech driver at this stage of the race.
Yeah, indeed.
But now he's got a good run on Tobler this time by. Can he get the move done, or can't he get the overlap? Looks like maybe the Neos have set up perfectly for the straight here, and as a result, it's going to keep Tobler in front. In fact, Adventure has now pulled away a tad bit now from Stepnica. He's now got it up to 1.7 seconds now between himself and the Jaguar driver. So that's that. Is now Denholm trying to get a run on Tobler down to the double right-hander, but Tobler defending inside, although it looks like Dicelli's going to try and get on the inside if he can, but he can't get it done, and once again has to hang back for the time being. Looking at Stepnica, of course, he's coming into the pits at the end of this lap now then. So just coming into the left-hander. It's Dicelli now then, trying to have a go on the inside into this corner. Oh, that was close.
My goodness me, I thought they were going to crash.
That was nearly going to end in tears, and now look, it's brought Kochi Cheong has already pitted right into this, but he shouldn't get involved too much because, of course, Dicelli's coming in at the end of this lap, as Stepnica now comes in an attempt to try and jump Adventure in the pits.
Yeah, it'll be a little difficult, as I said earlier, but let's see what happens.
Also into the pits is Bartosz Bracki in the Venturi car, looking to try and see if he can get a podium in only his third Formula E race, as Stepnica, as a result, had to wait a little bit for Bracki to go by, but didn't get held up.
It's not going to help him.
It's only a little bit, but it could make all the difference. 5.4 seconds was the pit stop time in the end for Jacob Stepnica. As in fact, as soon Ionescu, I think, is coming in at the end of this lap. Bracki finishes his
I
pit
think
stop.
it's Jackson.
We'll have to wait and see, of course. Neuville is in, but where on earth is Razin compared to Bracki? Because, of course, those two were fighting for third position. Razin's on the pit straight. There is Bracki, who's just come out, and Razin goes through.
Yep, so he looks like the undercut actually worked this time.
Indeed, and you got to remember there's a tight little corner when they come out of the pit exit, so they still need to build up the speed when they exit the pit lane. A lot of cars in this time by. Neuville's just finished her pit stop. Let's see where she's going to emerge. She's going to emerge in 10th position, and it looks like she's going to be... No, she's not. I thought for a minute she actually got the jump there on Kochi Cheong, but Cheong just came past there and stays in front of her as a result. Carpenter comes out just in front of Kwan, who I think is still having to make a second pit stop because of the fact that they had damage on the first lap. Same with who I'm in the going. But the race leader is coming in this lap, I think. Daniel Adventure, yes, he is. Yes. He's coming in, as is Jackson. So you were correct, Rob. It is Jackson coming in, not Ionescu. So Ionescu, I think, will take the lead.
Nipcom is being impeded here, meanwhile, by Kogjun Chung.
So this is not going to help him at all in trying to jump Adventure in the pits, along with that little hold up. It seems to be a bit of an issue with Venturi drivers, it seems, because he got briefly held up by Bracki when he came into the pits, and now he's being held up by the other Venturi here.
Yep, indeed.
There's a lot of pit calls on this occasion. Even Denholm's got a pit call as well, and now he's got two DS Cheetah cars right in front of him as they now make their way through the little S's, as Kwan tries to get by on his own teammate Carpenter here as they now make their way towards the double right-hander. Down the inside he will go as Denholm watches on to see if anything happens between the pair of them, which it doesn't, and as a result he's had to back out as a result. But as mentioned, the race leader is coming in at the end of this lap, and be interested to see where he comes out in relation to Stepnica. Meanwhile, Koenig on the inside of this is Tobler. He tried to, but Tobler's just got enough of an edge to stay in front for the moment. So Tobler currently holding up Koenig at this stage, but Adventure is now into the pits. The race leader is now in the pits, and it'll be interesting to see if Stepnica can get the jump on him, or whether Adventure is going to still stay ahead after the pit stops.
Yeah, absolutely, as now in comes Jackson as well.
Yep, so top two in as Adventure finishes his pit stop, 5.5 seconds. He won't get held up by Jackson because Jackson's the first garage. So Adventure now then coming in coming down pit lane. Where is Stepnika on the track? He was getting held up by Coach on Cheong. Let's not forget, as Ionescu will take the lead, I think, temporarily because of this tight little
Not.
corner here. Or maybe not. Let's see. As Adventure comes out of pits, no, he will do. So and Ionescu does lead temporarily because he does need to stop. And as a result, Adventure is still in front of Stepnika.
Looks like he's got a pretty big gap, to be honest.
Yeah, so clearly the hold-up with Coach Chung did not help Stepnika at all. Jackson emerges in P6 as Coach Chung Cheong also came into the pits this lap as well. Tobler now in as Koenig now free from that, including Denon and Kwan who are also into the pits. As in fact, we now look at Stepnika now. Then who's actually got Razan right behind him, and let's not forget Razan has already made his pit stop. So this could be a fight for second place once Ionescu pits. As speaking of which, Adventure not willing to waste any time behind Ionescu.
Nope, he's gonna try to overtake him right now.
Going to try to have a go, but it looks like Ionescu's just going to cut him off there. So Adventure getting held up a little bit there. But
Yep, it's 5.5 seconds.
Adventure, is he going to get Ionescu this time by into the double right-hander? He's going to go to the inside. Ionescu not giving up, it seems, as Adventure trying to sneak through on the inside, but I think he's got it done. Yes, he has. Pressure tyres helping Adventure, and he goes through back into the lead of the race. And importantly, he's now got a car in between himself and Stepnika. Should Stepnika close up, because of course Ionescu will be coming in at the end of this lap. Kwan now then on the inside of Tobler, can't get it done and stays behind. But yeah, as mentioned, Razin very close to the back of Stepnika and could be a fight for second place incoming.
Yeah, certainly.
Meanwhile, Kwan, can he actually pull that move off as the camera rudely cut away there? Kwan trying to hang it around the outside. He couldn't do it. I thought for a minute he could pull it off. So, yeah, I thought if he pulled that off, that could have been a contender for overtake of the season. Because you don't often see overtakes at that part of the track, it's fair to say. But, yeah, Ionescu coming into the pits this lap. And it'd be interesting to see where he emerges in relation to, I would also say, Jackson and also a few other cars as well.
I think he'll be quite far behind.
Yeah, perhaps indeed. But he could still be out in the points because Carpenter is quite a far way behind him. So I think points are still on the cards for Ionescu. It's just how much he can possibly gain after the pit stops on fresher tyres.
Yeah, indeed. In he comes.
He'll be coming in soon as Kwan tries to look on the inside of Tobler into this right-hander. Try and keep it tidy if you can. And they have done. Tobler stays ahead for the time being as 1 lap 10. As Ionescu now into the pit. Stepnika, I don't know if he got a little bit held up by Ionescu. I don't know if he was close to the back of Ionescu at the time. But either way, Razin, either way, is closing onto the back of him. 4.9 seconds to pit stop for Ionescu.
Yep, where is he going to emerge? Is he going to be in front of the Chung brothers?
So
looks like he'll be pretty close. He's behind one. He's behind both. He's behind Newellville as well.
He could be out in front of Coach Chung here, and I think he is. So Ionescu rejoins in 8th position.
Yeah, but the overcut did not seem to work too well for him. He's going to need to re-overtake those cars.
Yep, as Hoang Min Nguyen is back into the pits for his second pit stop. But now we look at this battle for second that could emerge very soon. 1 second currently, the gap between Stepnika and Razin at the moment. As Razin wants to try and see if he can do all he can to make it a Mercedes 1-2 here today.
Yeah, he's definitely going to try.
As once again, Kwan getting stuck behind the back of Tobler at the moment. They both go through on Nguyen, who's just making his final pit stop of the day. Well, obviously his only pit stop, I should say, because they only have 1 pit stop. Oh, in fact, no, it's the second pit stop. What am I talking about? I should have just not corrected myself there at all. But anyway, looks like Ionescu is actually going to have to come under pressure, in fact, from Coach on Cheong here, because looks like
he seems to be pulling away a little bit.
He is in his slipstream, though, as you can see. He is gaining, as you can see, Ionescu defending the inside there, but I think Ionescu will hold on because there's just not enough straight there going into that part. But can Coach John perhaps get a run into this right-hander? We shall see.
I'm not sure if he's close enough, but he is gaining. This will be probably his one and only chance.
Tried to have a go there, but Ionescu already covered it off, and I wonder now with the fresher tyres if Ionescu will now start to pull away.
1.2 meanwhile between Stepnika and Razin.
So Stepnika now actually responding to Razan's pace because it was 1 second earlier on, but it's now up to 1.2. So Razin dropping back a bit
catching
now.
Bracky in the meantime.
Yeah, 3.5 seconds the gap between Bracky and Razan at the moment. Of course, Bracky has 1 lap fresher tyres than what Razan has, so whether that will make much difference, we'll have to, of course, wait and see, of course, as Adventure starts lap 11 of the race.
I don't think he has the pace in the car, to be frank.
We shall see, of course, as as it's 1.8 seconds now. So yeah, I think Stepnica is now just starting to pull away now.
Yep, indeed. Here we have Quan in the meantime. He is still fighting with Tobola.
As they fight for 18th position, Quan. In fact, Tobler has been a little bit of a pain for drivers to get by. Clearly, as mentioned, the Neo is definitely set up pretty well down the straights around here, which is clearly keeping Tobler in front of a lot of battles. But can Quan get him this time into the shed section? He's trying to break that a little bit later, but I think Tobler is just going to hold on as a result, and yes, he is.
Yep.
1.7 seconds now, the gap between Stepnica and Razan. So Razan has found a 10th in the first sector, but still quite a way behind the Jaguar driver at the moment, as Bracky's actually fallen back a bit further now. He's now 3.8 seconds behind, so he's lost 3 tenths now to Razin.
Yeah, I just don't imagine Braki having the pace to keep up.
As Quan still getting very impatient being behind Tobler, as Tobler is still holding on to 17th place for the moment, as they will both make their way into the first corner. As in fact, Hoang Min Nguyen is now behind them in this scrap for what will be 19th position, of course, because there's only to stay out of last, I should say, because there is, of course, 19 runners left in this race. Just looking at the background of Razan, in fact, Jackson closing in now on Bracky, so looks like we have a fight for 4th very soon on our hands, as now Bracky continues to drop back from Razan.
Yeah, Braki just doesn't seem to have any pace at the moment.
6.2 now, the gap between Adventure and Stepnica. Of course, Adventure now on fresher tyres than the Jaguar driver, so you would imagine he could pull away. But it looks like Quan. Surely this is the move this time, by he's got the momentum on Tobler, and surely he's finally through on the Neo driver. Although Tobler is still hanging on. Bit surprising now.
Surprise.
Now here comes Nguyen now, then he's going to try and get by on Quan as a result of that and try and punish him for that. Danny inside into the double right-hander. Can he get through though? No, he can't. Quan holds on to the place for the moment.
Yep, that's right. Meanwhile, Adventure is increasing his lead.
Meanwhile, the Vietnamese drivers are now fighting for 18th. Looks like Nguyen's got much better traction than Quan, and looks like he's already got the overlap into the right-hander, and as a result, he's up into 18th place.
Yep.
He's now through into that corner, as we have 10 laps to go in this race for Daniel Adventure. In the meantime, as coming around the turns now, and Bracky, and look at this, Jackson is now all over the back of him, so now the battle for 4th is on.
Yep, that's right.
As we will wait to see, of course, Jackson, I think, is on fresher tyres compared to Bracky, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So he is going to take full advantage of this if he can. He's not that far away from Razan as well, so provided on how quickly he can get by on Bracky, could we perhaps potentially see a podium from Jackson here today?
I'm not sure.
As now we now look at Tobler, who, thanks to that battle between Quan and Nguyen, in fact, Quan has actually re-overtaken Nguyen somewhere on the track, so he's got back up into 18th position, but it's allowed Tobler to get away as a result in their battle to stay out of last position. But Quan getting better traction than Tobler there, coming out of that last chicane, and yeah, I think these lot are going to be fighting for quite a while towards the back end of this race.
Yeah, indeed. Razin looks to be comfortable in 3rd place for the time being.
Just keep an eye on the background between Bracky and Jackson. Jackson not close enough. It looked like that Bracky had better traction through into Sector 1, which is why he's been able to stay ahead of him at the moment. But yeah, at the moment, Jackson just can't find a way through on Bracky at this stage.
No, definitely not.
And home now then, looking to the inside. Oh, was looking to the inside. So whoa!
Knock up for Tobola.
And I think Quan may have had to gone a little bit wide as a bit of a reaction to that, to try and not run into the back of Tobler. As now look at this, it's getting very tasty indeed. This is only for 17th place, but I thought for a moment there Nguyen was going to make it 3 wide going down this back straight. Again, Quan can't find a way through. Can he now? Because he's still side by side with the Neo driver, heading through into the turn now, then heading down towards the door right hand. No, Tobler still has the edge, as now Nguyen tries to look to the outside. Quan covers him off there, and again, Tobler doing a good job keeping these two back.
Yeah, indeed. Good defending.
Through the double right-hander we go. Is Kwan going to try and get a run on Tobler this time by? He's going to try and have a go into this right-hander. Tobler covering that inside off as best as possible as Kwan tries to have a go. Oh, that was very close indeed. I thought for a minute that was going to end in tears, but thankfully it didn't. Nguyen wasn't able to take full advantage of that. As meanwhile, Aviard has passed Ticelli unseen by the cameras. He's up now into 13th position. Ticelli not having the best of races here at Miami. It seems like he's having a similar race to what he had at Interlagos in the first race of the season, so it hasn't been the best start to the season for the Italian, as now Kwan again trying to have a go at Tobler into the shed section. Now then, can Kwan get the move done this time by? Can he break that a little bit later? Danny inside, and I think he's got it done this time.
He's got him.
He's finally got through on Tobler, and he's up into 17th. Now can the Nguyen follow through?
I wonder.
Meanwhile, Bracky's still in 4th place, still keeping Jackson back at the moment as those two continue to fight for 4th. All that he's doing is allowing Razin to pull away a little bit more, as Denholm is now stuck behind Cass Morgan at the moment, as they will fight for 14th. Trying to look on the inside of the chicane, but I don't think it's going to work, and no, it's not. He has to back out of that one. As a direct result of that, as we now look at Adventure now, there's 6.9 seconds now, the gap between the leaders, and doing a good job out in front at this stage.
Yeah, indeed.
0.4 seconds now, the gap between Bracky and Jackson, meanwhile, and their fight. Jackson's through! Jackson's through! In fact, there's a yellow flag! There's a yellow flag at the chicane is involved. Those two in as Jackson is out of the race!
It's for Jackson!
Jackson's out as Bracky.
What?
I think it involved Bracky because there was movement in the field. Was there contact?
What the hell happened here? There was.
And I think that's all on Jackson there, Rob. I think that's his own doing.
Yeah, unfortunately so. I don't think Braki took any damage in the meantime.
I think he's very lucky, Ken Cheong. Oh, Cheong's got damage. He's caught the wheel. And Kochi Cheong was looking strong. And it's going to elevate Neuville into 5th. And no, it's not. It's the fact because I think Neuville's got damage. The wheel was pushed back. And Ionescu's got a problem. He's got a problem. He's got a mechanical failure. And he's also taken damage as well from that wheel that keeps bouncing around. But he's also got a mechanical failure as well. And, well, this is going to shuffle the field up in the points as a result.
Yeah, Audis have absolutely no luck.
More bad luck for Audi as a result. It's been a disastrous start to the season for them. But the question is, can Ionescu make it back or will the car just die on him?
I'm not sure. What is the problem?
I tried to look on the wheel. I couldn't see anything. It's electrical. It's an electrical problem for Ionescu. So electrical issue there for Ionescu. And I think he could make it back to the pit as a result of that, and also having to tow their way back to the pits is Neuville. A shame for her, really, because she was looking like she could get some good points for Neo today, but that's all gone down the toilet as a result of that. And Ionescu now making his way to the pit, same with Neuville as well. But yeah, such a shame for Bella Neuville. Looking good for points in the Neo, and that's all gone down to waste. Same for Kochi Cheong as well.
Once again, bad luck for Ionescu at Miami. He hates this track.
Yeah, he's not really fond of this. I think he even mentioned he wished it was still at Atlanta for the only American race, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah.
Anyway, as a big lock-up, therefore, I think that was Tobler, as I think, Nguyen, on seen by the cameras, has actually overtaken him now. So Tobler is now at the back of the field as a result, with 18 cars left. Jackson out from his own doing there, really, as a result of that, those 3 cars have had to come into the pits. But yeah. That's, as mentioned, shaking everything up now in that top 10. So let's have a look when the graphic goes back around to see what it looks like. So Bracky's still in 4th. Coach on Cheong is now up into 5th position as a result of all of that kicked off. Another lock up there for Tobler in the Neo there. 6th place is now Carpenter. He's made up some places. Koenig is now 7th. Cohen is in 8th. Kochi Cheong actually rejoined in 9th. In fact, so
Baird is in 10th.
Aviard is in 10th position. So Kochi Cheong is still in the points despite that bit of damage. And I think he actually just overtaken Aviard, who's now under pressure from Dicelli here.
Yeah, indeed. He's going to try to go for it.
Couldn't get it done that time by. They now make their way towards the double right-hander. Now then we will go. So now heading towards that double right-hander, we will go on the racetrack as Aviar defending the inside, going into the double right-hander. Can feel the pressure from Dominic DiCelli. Speaking of Nissans, Denholm is still stuck behind Cass Morgan at the moment, as it's nearly 8 seconds now between both Adventure and Stepnica. Meanwhile, DiCelli trying to get a run on Aviard here, but he's not close enough to get the run on the Porsches. Oh, big lock up there for Aviard, and well, DiCelli nearly ran into the back of him as a result of that.
Yeah, that was close.
Indeed so. Meanwhile, Denholm's still stuck behind Cass Morgan's Mahindra at the moment, and clearly getting frustrated being stuck behind at this stage as they now make their way through into the left and right-handers. As meanwhile, Adventure is now on lap 15 of the race now then, so including the lap we're on, we've got 7 laps to go here at the Miami ePrix. As 9 seconds now the gap between Razan and Bracky at this stage of the race, as now coming around the right and left-handers now then. And so, as just trying to keep an eye on what's going on at the bottom of the screen now then, as in fact it's not giving us any gaps to everybody else for some reason, it's just showing everybody's pit stops. So anyway, so there is Adventure now then. I think he's now over 9 seconds back. Cohen's up to 7th, he's past Koenig on the track, so Cesar Cohen Jr. is now up into 7th place, so looking good in that Group 3 Mahindra. And also we've got Ionescu. I think it's 3 wide going down the pit straight. I think it is 3 wide. Please keep it together, guys, as they go side by side down towards the right-hander as DiCelli goes by there on, I think that's Neuville. It is, in fact, it's Neuville and Ionescu trying to attack DiCelli because down there both on fresher tyres, let's not forget.
Yeah, that's right, and they're very desperate to get back into the points, both of them.
Yeah, indeed, but they can't be doing that if they're trying to do 3 wide attempts on Dominic DiCelli, that's for certain, as now they make their way through into the left-hander now, then we will go. 4.6 seconds the gap between Ionescu and Cass Morgan, meanwhile. Just looking at that, 3.3 now. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if those two are gaining as a result of this fight that's going on for 11th position. But now Neuville trying to attack DiCelli now then for P number 11. The Belgian driver trying her best to get through. So they need to be careful because Aviar could be pulling away here. But as Aviar got the overlap, I think she has, but DiCelli's still sticking with her.
And
now.
Neuville is in front.
She is in front. She's up into 11th. Can Ionescu take advantage of that now then? He's trying to get into the slipstream, but I don't think he's close enough. In fact, it looks like DiCelli's trying to get back at Neuville into the double right-hander, but Neuville covers him off and holds on to the place. Ionescu now on the back of DiCelli as a result of that. And, well, looks like he's going to try
a good run here.
It looks like DiCelli's still a bit in front at the moment as they now make their way towards this right-hander now then. Ionescu, be careful if you can. Oh, contact there. But he's just, that's a little bit of an argy-bargy move there. But Ionescu gets through without any trouble. And that's P12 for him. But now DiCelli has got 2 more cars right behind him, including his teammate Ross Denholm. Morgan tries to look to the inside, gets a lock-up through into there. But Denholm not able to take advantage of that. Coming out of the right-hander now, then we go. Can Denholm get the move on Morgan? No, it looks like Morgan's getting slipstream on DiCelli, which is keeping the Mahindra in front for the moment. In fact, Morgan's trying to look to the inside of DiCelli, heading into the shed section. He's on the inside. Has he got the move done into the corner? He's trying to have a go. I think they're still going to remain side by side, but I think DiCelli is just going to hold on. As a result of that, Denholm trying to see if he can find a way through. He can't. And, well, DiCelli holding up those cars. Engine point for Koji Cheong. So it's gone from bad to worse. For Koji Cheong, his powertrain has decided to go up in smoke and
well, overtake Aviard.
And Neuville taking full advantage of that blow up there and gets back into the points as a result of that. But after getting damage earlier on, Koji Cheong's race is now over thanks to a water leak as it was described on the steering wheel there. But his powertrain has gone up in smoke.
Yeah, what a shame.
And, well, that's that then. So Koji Cheong now then out of the race. We're now down to 17 runners as a result of that as he pulls off just at turn 1 there. And that is race over for him as a result. Neuville back in the points as mentioned, taking advantage of that, getting by sneakily on Aviard whilst they were getting held up by that smoky powertrain there. But, yeah, Aviard's still in the points, but he's got Ionescu breathing down his neck for that final points place.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting fight. I'm not sure how long it'll last.
Ionescu's going to try and have a go as he's trying to see if he can get the overlap on the Porsche down this back straight now then as they're trying to go side by side, but I think Aviard's just got enough to stay in front. So Aviard just going to hold on to 10th place for the moment now then as they make their way down towards the double right-hander now then on the racetrack. as confirmation that Koichi Cheong is out of the race here at Miami. As that's that really. Bear with me, Rob.
Yeah, sure. 5 laps to go. Ionesco's got a good run here. He's gonna go for it down the inside of Aveyard. Can he take the position from him? I don't think so. No, not quite. But on the traction, it's got better traction. Aveyard has the inside though, so Aveyard should stay in front. No, Ionesco's got him around the outside.
That's
He's
a
after the
brilliant move.
point.
That is a brilliant move for Ionescu, using advantage of his freshly tyres. He's now into the points. Now, can he try and catch back up to Villeneuve, who's built a bit of a gap
I don't
since
think
all
so.
of that kicked off? But yeah, either way, Ionescu now back into the points as a result of that. Adventure now with over 11 seconds ahead of Stepnica, and he can just basically cruise. Another lock-up for Tobler there, so he's definitely struggling on those tyres. And you can see just how much time he's lost ever since Kwan and Nguyen went by him.
Yeah, indeed.
His tyres are just shot, and I bet he's just wanting to get to the end of the race now as a result of that, as they now make their way through into the right-hander now then. And so, on you were saying?
No, nothing.
Okay. It's now Denholm now. They're trying to have a go at his own teammate DeChelli, but can't get it done. And DeChelli holds onto the place. Kwan not close enough to get a hold of Denholm on this occasion. As, in fact, DeChelli now with a bit of traction, thanks to him cutting across his teammate there going into the last chicane. But so far, it's safe to say, Rob, a disastrous race for Nissan today.
Yeah, absolutely right, Joe.
So now we look at Adventure now. Then he's just making his way through the left and right-handers now then, as he's continuing to build the lead out in front. 12.4 seconds now, the gap between the pair of them. Let's not forget as well, of course, Ross Denholm, to add to Nissan's misery. They've got a 10-second... He's got a 10-second time penalty, of course, for that crash that he caused with Rafael Demel on lap 2 into the first corner. So that's that to bear in mind. And so far, I think he's going to at least drop behind Kwan as a result. I don't know if he's going to drop behind any others as a result. But yeah, something to bear in mind when we read out the results after the race, of course.
Yep, indeed.
Nguyen, meanwhile, is now on the back of Cass Morgan now in the Mahindra, and it looks like he's going to get the overlap here, going down the back straight here, as Nguyen does everything he can to get by on Morgan, but Morgan is going to hold on as a result of that, as they now make their way for the left and right-handers now then towards the double right-hander. We soon go 4 laps to go. For the race leader, Daniel Adventure, here at Miami, as a Stepnica, I think, is just trying to bring the car home here in the Jaguar. He's got a 6.6 second cushion now to Razin. When we thought that Razin was going to maybe battle with Stepnica, he's just continued to drop back, as it looks like Tobler again really struggling with those tyres. He's just locking up everywhere he goes, and yeah, I think he's just praying for the race to be over at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
As gap 12.5 seconds now between Adventure and Stepnica in the top 2. Just looking around to see if there's any other battles. Koenig and Cohen are still very close together. So Koenig has not given up yet on Cesar Cohen Jr. Meanwhile, the 2 Nissans are scrapping once again for 12th place. Can Denholm get through on his teammate DeChelli? A big lockup for DeChelli. Denholm takes full advantage and he's up into 12th position. So I think DeChelli is now also struggling on those tyres. But he's only 12th on the road, let's not forget. Because, of course, Denholm has that 10-second time penalty.
Yep, that's right.
As Adventure now then making his way towards the double right-hander now then. So through the first part and then into the second part we will go, as he's basically just cruising out in front now, Rob.
Yeah, he's having a nice Sunday drive.
Or in this case, a Monday drive. But anyway,
yeah.
you get the point. But anyway, as now Denholm right behind Aveyard, who it looks like, just like with Gicelli, is also struggling with those tyres. And I think Denholm could punish him here on the track at least. Maybe not in terms of time, because of course he has that 10-second time penalty, but you could still definitely punish him on the road at least.
Yeah, indeed.
As we now look back at Daniel Adventure now then. Now looking at Cass Morgan, who's still got Hoang Minh Nguyen right behind, although I think he's going to get through there. That's a pretty good move on those fresher tyres for Hoang Minh Nguyen, and he's up into 15th position. Now can he gain hold of his fellow compatriot, Nguyen Minh Quan, who's right behind this train of cars that is forming behind Leighton Aveyard here. So, As meanwhile, looking just in front, it looks like Denholm is trying to attack Aviar, but can't get it done. Is Decelli going to try and get back through on his own teammate? No, he's not. Can Quan take advantage of this now then as they make their way down towards the double right-hander now then on the racetrack? As now Denholm looking to the inside of Aviar now then as Quan looks to the inside of Decelli down the inside. Denholm can't get it done, but Quan can. Quan gets up into 13th position past Decelli through into the first part of that double right-hander, and Decelli's traction has been slightly compromised as now Denholm and Aviar once again fighting it out for 11th place now then, heading into the corner. A little bit of contact there. There's a little bit of contact, but thankfully it didn't come to anything serious there. Aviard holding on for dear life, as meanwhile Quan and Decelli were fighting a little bit again, but Quan holding on to the place for the time being. And if they keep fighting this lot, it will just allow Huaymin the Guin to get close. Meanwhile, Koenig has got Bella Neuville all over the backside of him now then. And Neuville could even get up to 7th here because they're not she's also not far behind Cesar Cohen Jr. either. So, yeah, clearly using the fresh tires of effect. Look at this lot now. Aviard doing his best to defend. Quan trying to go all the way around the outside of Denholm into the corner. I think he's actually pulled it off, in fact, hasn't he? Yes, he has. Quan is up into 12th. That's a brilliant move there from the Vietnamese driver to get by on Denholm. And, well, it's a shame this is not in the points, really. This is just outside the points that this battle is happening.
It could be points if something happens to one of the front runners.
It could indeed, but at the moment it's not for points. Quan looking to the outside of Aviard if he can into the chicane. Can't make it work. Denholm trying to repass him if he can. Same with Decelli on Denholm heading towards the pit straight as Decelli tries to look back on the inside. Can't get it done. Denholm trying his best on Quan again. Quan defending the inside, heading into the first corner. It looks like he's going to hold on for the moment as... I wonder what's going on in that fight for 8th place between Koenig and Neuville, meanwhile, who are a little bit further up the road at the moment, as I wish we could have a look to see what was going on in that fight for 8th. Now we can. Neuville's got a good run here on Koenig now. Then can she get the move done? We know the Neos are very good down the straight from what we saw with both Tobler and Neuville, and it looks like Neuville could try and take advantage of this. She looks like she's got the overlap.
No.
So Koenig's going to hold on for the moment, so she can't get the move done. Ionescu's only 2.8 seconds back from those two, so they keep fighting. Ionescu could be right on the back of this lot as well, as meanwhile the two Nissans once again trying to attack Quan. All this is doing is allowing Aviard to just get away, as now they come down the back straight now. Then Denholm trying his best, but hasn't got the overlap on Quan. Quan's going to hold on. As a result of this now, then Aviard just getting away. 2 laps to go for race leader Daniel Adventure. Meanwhile, out in front, he's got a 12.6 second cushion ahead of Stepnica. Now heading into the double right-hander. Quan defending the inside, and he holds on to 12th place for the moment. As now we look at Ionescu, who's on the back of Neuville here. All that battling with Koenig has allowed Ionescu now to be a part of this battle.
Yeah, indeed, and I wonder if he can overtake Bella Neuville. He's definitely going to think about it.
Going to try and get a run into the shed section if he can. He looks to the inside, but I wonder if Neuville's also using the slipstream of Koenig to perhaps stay in front. But either way, Ionescu on the inside of the Neo driver. Can he pull the move off down the inside? He's going to have a go. They're going to remain side by side out the corner. But I think Neuville's just going to hold on for the moment, and she is. So for the moment, Neuville holds on to 9th place, but Ionescu making his intentions clear.
Yeah, indeed. He's getting another run here, but there isn't enough straight to take advantage.
Definitely not at the moment, as the other group are just coming up towards the shed section, as Neuville again trying to find a way through on Koenig. Can't get it done out of the final chicane now. Then
he's lost the place.
As, Denholm's down to 15th now. Both Decelli and the Guin who's now caught up to that fight, has now dropped down to 15th. As now we look to the battle for 8th position. Koenig defending the inside from Neuville and Ionescu as well, who are both trying to put pressure on the Andretti driver. Both Ionescu and Neuville, let's not forget, are on fresher tyres after they had to pit for damage / electrical problems on Ionescu's end, as Aviard tried to get back at Decelli there, couldn't make the move stick. Meanwhile, Ionescu all over the back of Neuville, can't get it done. Through into the S's now, then we go.
Yeah, indeed. Neuville's got pretty bad exit there. Ionescu could try to take advantage, but no, not close enough.
We'll be soon coming up towards the back straight, this very, very long back straight very soon on the track, so we could see some overtaking done down here. Coming out the turn, all three of them very, very close together indeed. Neuville looking to the inside of Koenig now then, heading down the straight. Ionescu could even try and take advantage if Neuville can't get by, as now they come around the corner. Can Neuville get through? No, he can't, but Ionescu can. He's through into 9th, and now he's going to get a run on Koenig down towards the double right-hander.
Let's see how quickly he can clear him.
On the inside of the German driver, Koenig tries to shut.
Wait, there's a car going down.
Owen's got a problem. That's such a shame. He was running in 7th place, and that's points down the toilet for Cesar Cohen Jr.
That's going to be points for Aviard.
Aviard's going to get back in the points as a result of that, as, in fact, he's fighting with Kwan as well for that point. But meanwhile, Ionescu on the inside of Koenig into the corner, and it looks like there was nearly close contact there.
No, he hasn't.
Koenig still hold on to the place for the moment as Adventure has started the final lap of the race. The Earls are out because Koenig is, of course, pulled off to the side of the track. It's such a shame for him. He was looking good to get his first ever points in the series, but now it's gone down the toilet for him. Engine blown.
Engine failure for Nguyen.
It's all kicking off now. Nguyen's now got an engine failure, and his race is going to be over pretty soon as well, which is pretty much to compound his misery. But as mentioned, Adventure has started the final lap of the race here at Miami. A very crazy final few laps down the field, but for Adventure at least, it's just been the dominant drive for him.
Yeah, absolutely right. It looked a little bit dodgy in the first stint, but in the second stint he was able to pull away and take full command of the race.
Yeah, indeed, as Adventure. In fact, Stepnica has gained a bit onto Adventure, but it's already too late. The gap is too big for him to close up there. But anyway, Ionescu is now ahead of Koenig. Ionescu's up into 7th place. There's a yellow flag. In fact, that's Nguyen. In fact, he's pulled off with an engine failure. So finally, his car has given up the ghost. He's pulled off just where Adventure is coming up to right now. You just about see the smoke that's just up the track there. But Ionescu has actually got by on Koenig, and he's up into 7th place at the moment. So a good comeback for me. Ionescu after his electrical problems he had earlier on in the race, and also the bit of damage he got from the wheel that was bouncing from Jackson's car. So and that's that. Yeah. But anyway, here is Daniel Adventure now. Then he's just coming around this. It's sort of a bus-stop chicane, but it really isn't. But he's just come out of that bit for the 21st and final time. He's now up the gap again to Stepnica. It's now back over to 12 seconds as a result. But Daniel Adventure, it's been the perfect race for him now as he makes his way into the right-hander for the 21st and final time underneath the shed section of the track. Now heading into the left-hander he will go. A perfect race for the German driver in his third race in Formula E. Decelli up into 11th place as Kwan has dropped down to 13th place. Aviard has done a good job trying his best to hold on to that 10th place. But anyway, Daniel Adventure approaching the final chicane for the 21st and final time. A brilliant race for the German driver, and it is going to be Daniel Adventure who is going to win the Miami Prix here at the Dodge Island Street Circuit. A dominant drive for him, and he becomes the third different winner of the season. Jacob Stepnica is going to cross the line in second. A good result for him in the Jaguar indeed, but not quite enough for him to get a victory. Mohamed Razan finishes in third. A 1-3 then for Mercedes. They'll definitely take that. Some big points for Mercedes today. Indeed, as they are, of course, the reigning drivers' champions with Michael Mocho last season. Bartosz Bracchi, applause to him. He's going to get 4th place, just missing out on the podium. But either way, Bracchi is going to get 4th. A brilliant result for him in the Group 2 Venturi. And he's had a brilliant start to time in Venturi. Same for Coach Chon Cheong, a very good amount of points for Venturi. Coach Chon Cheong is going to claim 5th place and 4th and 5th for the 2 Venturi drivers. Well done to them indeed. Coach Chon Cheong will cross the line in 5th position. He crossed the line. Owen Carpenter will take 6th place. He'll take that after what has been quite a tricky start to the season for DS Techeetah. So Owen Carpenter is now going to cross the line in 6th position. P7 is going to go to Robert Ionescu. What might have been without that electrical problem, but still P7 for Ionescu.
As he still has Jackson's car, I think.
No, I mentioned that. I'll get that swapped out after this race because there's no Formula 2 at all, of course. Koenig finishes in 8th. Neuville in 9th. Gets points for Neo. Regardless, Aviard, with all that traffic behind, I think he's just going to hold on to 10th unless something happens in his remaining few corners.
I don't think he can be passed on the line here.
Well, we'll see, of course, because it might be possible in this final chicane. We shall see. Coming into that final chicane now, then, is meanwhile Denholm trying to go all the way around the outside of Kwan. I think he's got it done, in fact. He has, but he's going to drop behind him because of the penalty. Aviard gets the final point in 10th. Decelli 11th. Denholm 12th on the road, but of course he'll drop back. So Kwan in 12th. Morgan will be in 13th. Will Tobler be 14th? Of course, we'll double check on that when we get to the race results. But Tobler, his race is finally over after being on destroyed tyres for the last few laps. But here is your winner, Daniel Adventure, here in the Mercedes. A fully deserved win for him. Took the lead at the start and never looked back. And Adventure is going to be absolutely ecstatic with that one. Here is your final results then. Daniel Adventure winning the race with Jacob Stepnica in 2nd place. Mohamed Razan in 3rd with Bartosz Bracchi, a very impressive 4th. Coach Chon Cheong, a very impressive 5th. Owen Carpenter 6th. Robert Ionescu is in 7th with Marvo Koenig in 8th. Bella Neuville in 9th with Leighton Aviard completing the points in 10th position. Dominic Decelli is in 11th. Just before I hand over to Rob, let's just work this out with Denholm quickly. He drops to 14th, so Tobler wasn't able to get him. So bear that in mind, Rob, when you read the second part out.
Sure, Nguyen Kwan is in 12th with Cass Morgan 13th, Ross Denholm 14th, Jakub Tobola 15th, and then the Cesar Cohen classified 16th, Fleming Nguyen 17th, and the DNFs are Kogjit Chung with a water leak, Brian Jackson with a crash, Rafael Dumele with a crash, Sanatroy with a crash, and Justin Kumar with a crash.
The fastest lap went to Jacob Stepnica, so along with the 3 bonus points he gets for pole, the 18 points he got for second place, he's also going to get the 2 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race. So there you have it then. That has been it for the Miami ePrix. A very mental final few laps, you'd have to say, Rob.
Yeah, as expected of this track, chaos.
Indeed so, but at least there wasn't much chaos at that chicane that has caused problems in previous seasons, so that's a good sign indeed. But anyway, guys, that has been it then. I hope you have enjoyed it for the Miami ePrix. Of course, there is no Formula 2 this week as well, so this is the only stream for today on Monday. Of course, we've got the top class tomorrow and Wednesday for the San Marino Grand Prix at Misano, the first ever top class race at Misano, and the first San Marino Grand Prix since 2006, so very exciting times for the top class indeed. And of course, we have DTM later on this week as well at Mugello, so a couple of races happening in Italy this week for the OC. But of course, the next Formula E race will be on at 2 weeks' time, and it will be the Portimao ePrix at the Autodromo Internacional do Algarve in Portimao, Portugal. So do look forward to that, the first European race of the season as well. So that's that, and the first of 2 races, of course, in Portugal as well, because of course we are going to Estoril again as well this season. So in 2 weeks' time will be the Portimao ePrix at, well, Portimao. And of course, next week we will have World Champ Car over at Road America, so do look forward to that. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. So thank you all for watching. I've been JW97, he's been Rob, and of course Yuri, who did commentate briefly during qualifying, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.